Hello everyone, and this is Fantasy-esque, and welcome back to Lakeburg Legacies. When we left off in the previous episode, we had a crush, a divorce, and remarriage. So firstly, the Jameson family came into town with Carla, our seamstress, and her husband Rowan, who is a lumberjack. They have a 10-year difference between the two of them. But things I think pretty decent. However, we did have a bit of a development between Rowan and our other lumberjack. Actually, now that I think about it, yes. So Rowan came into town, started working at the Lumberjack's Lodge, and then one of his colleagues, Gunora over here, Gunora, guys, started developing a bit of a crush on Rowan, and she was pregnant at the time with her first child, and she started, I think, seeing more problems in her loveless marriage than benefits, and so immediately after she got a crush on Rowan, she broke up with her husband Arik, they got a divorce, and then Gunora immediately was pursued, I think, by Pepin. By Pepin over here, who has newly become a young adult himself, and Pepin and Gunora, they are now married. Gunora gave birth to a baby girl named Effie, and then Arik immediately remarried Raymonda, the baker that everyone seems to have a problem with in town. So yeah, that's a bit of a thing going on with the family. I think Carla and Rowan are okay for now, but I might want to check up on that in a second to see how they're really going. I don't know if we had the chance to really look into their family last time. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. So they got married. Once again, Carla claimed to have an important meeting to avoid cleaning up the house. So they have an average affinity, it seems. And I don't know how, they're going to make it work in the future, but they had a, kind of good start to their marriage. It wasn't a loveless marriage by any means because they had like 3 bars up here, which is a, good sign. But I think they're having maybe some difficulties adjusting. Carla's probably being a little bit difficult at home because she keeps kind of running off instead of helping keep the house nice and clean. Meanwhile, Rowan is getting along really well with Gunora, one of his colleagues who has a crush on him. So yeah, it's a thing. Something's happening over here. Okay, there is that. And then I was quickly going through our mini villages, of which we now have 32, and I realized that Olive has aged up, guys. Olive Knapp is now 6 years old, which means she can become an apprentice. So let's take a look at where she might fit in best. So she has a good relationship with both her parents, which is very nice to see, and her family, they're together, and I think they're happy. I hope they're happy. But okay, a god baker or a painter. So baker, she wants to be an apprentice baker, although I don't think we have. Yeah, we don't seem to have any space for an apprentice baker at this point. Now Marie I think is training her daughter, Eloise, and then Raymonda's training Nathan. So unfortunately, Olive, I could open up another slot, but that stresses out the mentors more, so I don't want to do that really. Olive, I think Olive's gonna actually have to wait until maybe Eloise finishes her training. How old is she? But Eloise, they stay in training until I think they're 18. How old is Eloise? Where is she? She's 11 years old. She's 11. The other thing that could happen is at some point we get like a new baker, and then the baker can take on Olive as an apprentice, or Olive might change kind of, her aspirations in life. That might adjust, and then we could reassign her. For now, though, unfortunately, even though Olive dreams of becoming, a baker or apprenticing as a baker, we just don't have the stuff necessary at the bakery to get her going there. And I honestly don't want to stress Marie and Raymonda out if I can help it. So Olive's gonna have to wait it out a little bit. But okay, let's get time going. And I think right now we are trying to work towards the fisherman's hut. We still have to save up a ton of stone and wood for that. So yeah, let's just keep an eye on the population, see what everyone's up to. Okay. Right. Let's take a look. What's been happening? So, the Kolb family are in a loveless marriage. That's with, Colette and Loop. Yeah, they've been going up and down quite a bit, their relationship. It's been that way for a while. But they haven't made any moves to, break off. They tend to fall into a loveless marriage, and then they get a little bit infatuated, and then they go back into a loveless marriage. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. Valerius is 16 years old. In a couple of years, he's going to be young adult too. And then we have something interesting between Brynja and Arik, who are furious with each other. So Brynja is our mason, and Arik is the seamster. Okay, I'm wondering, where the heck is this connection? Where are they connected? How are they connected? Because we have a mason, and they were over here next to the chickens getting angry at each other. But we have a seamster and a mason. They're on opposite sides of the bridge, and they don't like each other. They're angry at each other over something, and I cannot work out what it is. Why the heck does Brynja not like? He hasn't even interacted much with Arik enough to even have Arik come up in relationships, but he's angry at Arik for something. I don't know where they connect. It's even with Raymonda. It's not like Brynja has any sort of relationship with Raymonda or even Arik's ex. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But they had a bit of an argument. They're angry at each other. Okay, good to know. Yeah, we'll count all the relationships. And then, see, this is what I was talking about. Loop and Colette, they fell into a loveless marriage, and now they're infatuated again. So there's no trusting them, to be honest. I feel like they have a very turbulent and unsatisfied marriage with each other, because it wasn't for, they didn't get together for genuine means, you know? It was for some other reason. It was so Loop could have some security and Colette could have some company. So it's not from a place of necessarily interest. They make it work sometimes, other times it doesn't work. But okay, let's keep going. Let's save up some more resources. Oh my goodness, we got to 300 wood very, very quickly, I feel. Very, very quickly. Okay, hold on. So, Loop and Pepin. Okay, Pepin and Gunora are infatuated. They're the newly married couple. But also, last time, I think Pepin became a young adult, and then he started working at the Hunter's Lodge with his father. And this is kind of the first time I personally feel like he would have come into contact with his father after years of not seeing his father, following him being abandoned on the streets. And I was wondering how their relationship would go. But it seems as though that has been a helpful thing. Because ever since they started working together, they've kind of reconnected and their relationship has improved. And Pepin, he is kind, so I would imagine a bit forgiving, but also he's greedy, and I think maybe he's a little bit greedy for affection. And now that he's getting it from his father, because, he is older and not a burden on his father and anymore, I feel like he would still crave that and appreciate that. So, hey, good for them, right? Good for them. If these guys have rekindled their bond as father and son, then I'm happy for them. I don't like Loop because of what he did, but I am happy for Pepin, at least. So there is that. And funnily enough, his wife works in the same place his mother worked at. And then, let's see, the Ashdown family, they are currently in love, the Ashdown couple. Where are they? So Theodora and Douglas are in love, so everything's going fine for them. Okay, we've had no particular age ups. Let's keep saving up some of our resources. Okay, hold on. Yeah, let's see. Okay, well, the Ashtowns, we said they were in love, but now they're infatuated. They must be having some problems. What else do we have? Arik and Raymonda are in a loveless marriage. I'm not surprised. I mentioned this before, but I feel like Raymonda has a very, very difficult personality to get along with, and she just seems like a rude kind of troublemaker. The type of person who causes fights for no reason, so I could kind of see why, she kind of has an issue keeping her partners interested long term. And then Marie and Raymonda are embarrassed. Yeah, oh, look at that. I love that Lupin Pepin, you know, probably going to the bakery, getting some lunch together, sitting by the benches together, chatting with each other, catching up on all the years they've been, like, you know, been apart. And then we have, yeah, Raymonda and Marie being embarrassed. I wonder if they had another fight and maybe their husbands kind of witnessed it, or well, yeah, I mean, they had a fight here apparently. So I wonder if Arik works like across the bridge, but Marie's husband is at the mason's workshop. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, guys, I was like, where did Brynja and Arik even meet? They like have no connection to each other or each other's spouses. Okay, they don't have a connection to each other, but their spouses work together. Both their wives work at the bakery, and maybe that's it. Maybe because of the fight between their wives are going home and complaining to the husbands about how terrible their workday was, and so Brynja and Arik have like a bad view of each other's wives because they think the other person's wife is causing their wife problems, and then they're probably meeting out on the street and saying crap about each other's wives and making each other furious. I think that's what's happening. And then maybe Marie and Raymonda kind of found out that their husbands had a fight over them. And now maybe other people in town are talking and saying that they're kind of problem women because they're, you know, causing fights between neighbors. And now they're embarrassed. Yeah, I think that's probably, you know, how it went down. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. But okay, we can do some bartering. We'll give some of our weapons for that gold. Thank you very much. And we can build the fisherman's hut. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to introduce a fisherman's hut into Lakeburg. Excellent. There we go. So now here we have space for a fisherman to come in. And the next thing that we would probably save up for at this point. Oh my goodness, guys. Guys, we can work towards a castle. And if we have a castle, we can have royalty. Okay. Well, how many resources? So the castle, the carpenter's workshop, and the building site will take the same amount of resources. Huh. I'll have to think about this. Because the building site is going to give us tickets, like building tickets. And basically the building tickets will enable us to reduce the amount of time it takes to make buildings. Or the amount of, resources it takes to make buildings, which is going to be useful long term. Especially because as we go on, like these buildings are going to require more and more resources. So, I don't know. I might have to think about this. But okay, let's keep going. See what else is happening in town. Okay. Oh, we have some, let's see, news over here. So, Eloise and Effie have met. Eloise and Effie. Hold on. Oh, Eloise has aged up a little bit. Okay, Eloise. Valerius is 17. He's very close to becoming an adult. But Eloise, guys, is 12 years old. Oh my goodness, look at Eloise. Look at Eloise. This is the daughter of Marie and Brynja. She looks a lot like, I think, a good blend of her parents, to be honest. She looks like a good blend of her parents. I do see a lot of her father in her, and she does not like Effie. She does not like this little baby Effie. So it's like a childhood rivalry. But she's like 12 and Effie's 1. Where the hell are you meeting Effie? I don't know where the Whitecliffs live. I don't feel like they're neighbors, but damn. We're the Whitecliff family in terms of, where'd they go? Whitecliff. Where's the, oh, they're right here. Okay, hold on a second. The Whitecliffs, they don't even work in the same industries. Are they neighbors? Hold on a second. Are they neighbors? Let's see. No, it's the Bonnet family. They live in different districts. So I'm not sure where they're meeting, but for whatever reason, Eloise does not like little Effie. And then we had a new baby. Oh, Lucius has aged up. Okay, Lucius needs to have somewhere to apprentice. Sapphire has aged up. Well, that's cute. That's right. They were born like in the same year. And then, the Jameson family has a new baby. So they have little baby Bruce Jameson, who is, like, he's got his mother's skin, he's got his mother's eyes, I think, and his parents both have the same hair color, if I'm not mistaken. But little baby Bruce! Okay, hold on. He would be a good baker in the future. A lot of potential bakers, it seems. Everyone likes the bakery. He's ill-mannered, though. I don't know where he gets that from, but he's ill-mannered. Okay, well, he likes feasting, public executions, and flowers. Doesn't like kittens, fashion, and cuddles. What a strong little baby, though. What a strong little baby. And he has, like, an average relationship with his parents. Good to know. Well, why don't we go ahead and... Colette is old now! Guys, Colette is old. Oh my goodness. Is it me, or do they, like, gray at different ages? Because I feel like, I could be misremembering, but I feel like Loop started graying at, like, 45 years old, and Colette is now 47. So she, you know, it took her a bit longer to gray. But oh my goodness. Colette, you're old now, and so is Beatrice. Look, and Beatrice grayed at 49. She's 49 right now. The most beautiful woman, guys, in Lakeburg is now old. Wow. And she has a bad relationship with her son? Oh, wow. I did not realize that was the case. She has a bad relationship with her son. Nobody else has aged, right? I don't think so. Okay, well, let's sort through, and I'll check up on Olive again to see if anything's changed. She still wants to be a baker, but we don't have another baker in town. Lucius, a hunter. Okay, Lucius would like to apprentice as a hunter. And look, we have no apprentices in the hunter's cabin. So actually, I think we'll give Loop an apprentice. So Lucius is going to be Loop's apprentice. I think that is going to be good. And then we also have Sapphire. Sapphire, oh, she has like high aspirations, you know, for things that unfortunately we don't have in the kingdom just yet. So she is not going to have a mentor that can help her out, unfortunately. Okay, well, let's keep going. Let's keep going. See what other changes. Oh, hold on. I think we have, no, I was going to say we have some, oh, okay. We have, in the granary, we have some limits that need to be, whatchamacallit, we need like some expansions, geez, in the granary because we're maxing out on a few things. But okay, what is this? Readers Club between Everard, our seamster, and Theodoric, our hunter. Okay. Although many residents of Lakeburg are still illiterate, Everard and Theodoric strive to pass on knowledge and will not give up on their passion. They intend to make a selection of enlightening books available to as many people as possible. But which ones should they promote first? We can have adventure novels, that's going to give both of them some charisma and the inspired traits, or we could do scientific literature. That is going to reduce faith. It's going to increase health service. It'll give them intelligence and the boring trait. I think we'll go for adventure novels. I think adventure novels sound fun. So we'll go for the adventure novels. Everard, Theodoric, and the rest of Lakeburg become deeply inspired by the epic poems, fantastic sagas, and romantic stories that dot the library books. A little too much, perhaps, as avid readers tend to take more reckless risks, but at least everyone's having fun. Okay, quite ready for another adventure. I think that's good, because when... I don't know, I feel like when people maybe, I mean, I can't say anything for, you know, illiteracy, but when people are bored, it's kind of hard to learn things, but when you're interested in something and when you're engaged, then you pay more attention and, you know, you kind of further your interest. And the more interest you develop, then you'll be willing to kind of look at the boring side of it or boring things attached to that because you want to know more. Like, your interest has to be rooted in some excitement. Okay, well, oh geez, good on them. What else do we have? Valerius and Everard. Hold on. Well, Valerius and Everard have become friends, which is very nice to see. Yeah, those two have become friends. And Valerius, guys, is now 18 years old. He's a young adult. Okay, and now he's moved out of home. He needs to find himself a job, so that was something that happened, but his really good friends with Everard. I wonder, was Everard his mentor? Everard might have been his mentor, actually. I don't remember, but I have a feeling that Everard is... Hold on a second. Where does he work? He's one of our seamsters. Yeah, I think Valerius was Everard's apprentice, probably. And then, let's see, Rowan and Bruce have met. Bruce, what are you talking about? Stranger? What do you mean? Rowan is Bruce's father. This is strange. Well, I guess apparently he has a really, really bad relationship with his son. He's got an average relationship with his wife, but it's like out of 41. They're making the marriage work, but it's not doing too well. And he has a really bad reputation, not reputation, but like a relationship with his son. They're kind of going into the path of having a troubled family, and he's not paying attention, and they're practically strangers living in the same house. Okay, not fun, not fun. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I know we have a couple things we have to do in terms of, Valerius getting a job, and we also can do recruitments and stuff, so probably bring in a new couple in the next episode. But I think for now, we had some movement, we had some changes, some age ups. I think this is probably a good time for us to kind of, let it rest a bit, let it rest, take our breath before we continue. Otherwise, it's going to be like too many things to keep track of. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.